Welcome, folks, to yet another stream, another community stream. This is stream number 115. We have a special stream tonight. We're not probably going to do the normal traditional fight night. We might have a little bit, but we have a guest in the house. We have Mathemar from the command table. How are you
Hello,
doing?
everybody. Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Excellent. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. So, what's the idea of this stream? Basically, we'll just see what it's like to have a community member for the very first time on the stream. I have had once or twice some devs in, but never a community member, so somebody outside of the Traplight or nowadays Godspeed Games community, or yeah. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to start off with just what you guys would like to see or do. Talk about tactics, talk about artifacts. Probably the spear tier 5 will be talked about. What folks can do against it. Mathma will have some good ideas on that. As all
Yep.
of you know, traditionally I am not the best tactician, so I'm hoping to get some good pointers here myself. So,
Oh.
yeah, where should we start from?
Well, we've got the last season when Spear just came out. There was a lot of not not hubbub, not hullabaloo either. Commotion. There was a lot of commotion
Oh yeah,
about the Spear coming onto the scene and seemingly being very overpowered. A lot of talk on Discord about uh, if it should be nerfed, and lots of people campaigning for that. Then there was the potential of it being nerfed, and then that was backtracked just to gather some more data. Um, I guess I can show you the army that I used last season when the spear came out, and kind of give you an idea of how that worked. Um, it's there were a few people that were mentioning that, oh, with Spear 5, you could just throw any units on the battlefield and you'd be just fine. Well, you run into the problem of the Skull 5 issue. So, Skull 5, the two particular features of that artifact that make things problematic are the chances for additional skeletons to spawn, and the once those skeletons are spawned, for them to last up to 2 seconds with
yeah,
complete immunity to everything. So when you're running a build like I'm running, the initial build that I had was quite different than what you see here. I did not have the Eye of the Corruptor or any of the Mind Corruptors on the battlefield. I was just running a whole bunch of Chaos units with some Draining Spirits, and I ended up with the situation where I was always running into draws.
yeah.
So you just can never make any progress. You're just stuck having draws all the time. So the few tweaks that I made was experimenting with that Eye of the Corruptor, which seems, seemingly at first glance would be totally incompatible with the spear. But when you see it in operation, you kind of get an idea for what I had in mind when I did it. And it took a while to get the Mind Corruptor placement right. It
Mm.
involves some slow on the Plague Bearers as well, so that at the beginning of the battle, those Mind Corruptors walk into the Plague Bearers, and the Risen Warriors will run into the Plague Bearers first, while the Mind Corruptor is kind of encompassed by them. So there's a lot of elements to this that, at first glance, it may seem just willy nilly, just flopping stuff on the battlefield, but there really is quite a fair amount of thought
Yeah,
that goes into the placement and to resolving battles. So we can try running it a couple of times just so you can kind of see how it works,
yeah,
if
sure.
you'd like to see that. Okay, so let's go
Some
ahead
some
and give it
folks
a
some
couple
folks in
spins.
the chat they're saying that audio is could be louder, but we are
Oh,
pretty much limited technically. I've
okay.
got it on max on OBS, so it should be as high as possible. But I have turned, or I'll turn my voice down a bit more, so mine shouldn't be too much louder then. So turn up your own volumes there.
Okay. I'm not sure if I can up my microphone any.
Yeah, no,
Let me.
viewers if they can turn their volume up, then that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah,
Okay. So what you're seeing here, the one of the other key strategic elements, by using the risen archers that I placed in the back here, they've popped up on the opposite end of the battlefield, and now you see all these blue skulls encompassing the entire map, all around. And that's intentional so that the spear, every time it lands, there's going to most likely be a skull
Mm-hmm.
in its vicinity. And you just always have something popping up, and you just, oh, see, there's a draw. That's kind of the situation that I ended up with most of the time with the chaos builds that I'd run into. Let's see if we can find, oh, let's skip through that. I'm not sure if they can hear my game sounds or not. Okay,
Yeah, I'm
let's
not sure
try
if they're
again.
coming through. They're not coming through for me,
Oh, okay.
but
So now
yeah.
these ones are fun. My fire build works better against the Endless March, but this one should work fairly well also. The kind of seemingly counterintuitive thing is that the Storm Dragon is going to actually help me. So the enemy Storm Dragon, what's going to happen, you see the skulls getting pushed back, and that's spreading them out and dispersing them across the battlefield,
Yep.
which means that it's more likely that the spear is going to proc and land on one of those. Another key element I've got for this season, I've got double range on the arcane archers, and that kind of keeps them out of everything, which kind of buys time in the event that most of the rest of the stuff dies. So, okay, that was a victory, so that's good. Oh, Ghostin, here we go. Now, this is one of the most problematic builds that I run into. It's got a very hard counter, not totally hard. Like there's going to be some leeway here with this spirit shield generator, but you'll notice that all the skulls are just being sucked up and absorbed.
Yep.
So the Spear of Cataclysm is kind of hampered by that. But if I can buy enough time, see, I've got this Plague Bearer up here. He's going to buy me a little bit of time, but I may lose anyway. So this build has kind of lost its effectiveness. I'm about to die. Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
So this build just hasn't carried over well, and one of the main reasons is because of the loss of certain power stones. When I had Empower Plagued, I had that on the Mind Corruptor, so that helped with any Cauldron builds. And there was, what was it? Was it Time Warp? I think it was Time Warp. So my Plague Bearers would be able to ping back to that back line. Okay, here we go. So this will kind of show you how the Mind Corruptors come into play, because he's got the Skull 5. So he's going to have a bunch of additional skeletons proccing. So you're going to get bonus units that pop up all over the place, and they're going to generate skulls. They have a chance to leave skulls behind. They're going to be immune for possibly 2 seconds, depending on the roll that he got for that third attunement. And you're going to end up, okay, so here in the very back, I've mind controlled all of his units, and now you're going to start to see a line forming right here, and that's going to start pushing this way. And once this Mind Corruptor gets rezzed by the spear, it'll clean up the rest of this and start sending it that way as well, if it doesn't die immediately. Okay, but things will die, they'll come right back, and it just keeps pressing forward. We're kind of at a standstill right now because
There's
both of
probably going to be a
the
draw,
Mind
yeah.
Corruptors are down. It could be, and that's the situation that I ran into a lot, but if I had the Empower Plagued, this would have been over almost by now. The Mind Corruptors would have been turbocharged by that Power Stone, and they would have just mowed through the entire build.
There's
So,
Aishabron in the chat there saying, "Let me win, Matt."
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's maybe a potential quiz question that I have for you. Is what is the most uh, powerful tool in your arsenal for reaching high trophy ratings? It's a semi well known secret, but it's not generally well known. So maybe I might some people might be bothered if I share that, but there is one particular element that gives you complete control over a trophy rating.
Really?
Yes, really. In fact, while I'm equally culpable in utilizing it, I do think it might ought to be changed to where you can't manipulate it in such a way. Okay, here comes Ghostin again. We'll see if this changes at all from the last time. It all depends on the pathing and where my spear strikes hit, because if I can keep all of his units in one clump with the draining spirits, that'll stack more bleed and he'll go down faster.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen, they're kind of in 2 separate groups. So I might, oh, they've split again. See, now I might be in trouble. what I might do is I might switch over to my fire build and show you how that functions differently than this one, since we've kind of got a good idea for how this one functions.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Okay,
But
okay, so,
this is a good
oh, go
example
ahead.
of how underrated the Spirit Shield Generator is.
Yep.
It's an extremely good counter for the spear.
Oh, there we go. Got him.
Ooh, that was close.
Yeah, so it can go either way with those spirit shield generators. It's not a completely perfect counter, but it is very effective in getting the job done. And I think I probably win 50-50 against the spirit generator builds. When you switch over to, I just had the uh, skin on this guy popped up here so you can take a look at it and see it. That's what the skin looks like in action.
Yeah,
But I
that's
actually
cool.
usually use a Phoenix for this. I just wanted to show that for everybody to see. So we'll pop our Phoenix down here. I've got the corrupted, or not corrupted, Chaos Power Stone on the Phoenix, both of them, so that they can convert things into skeletons. I hope this isn't a good offer. Okay, good. We'll just skip it. Would hate to make everybody watch an ad. But with this fire build, that percentage damage on hit will just shred through powerful units. And the bleed will do whatever's left. So poor Saw, he's getting trounced.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was actually worried about having bleed in season one. I was thinking, what are the
yeah.
designers thinking about? But I don't know. It's a nice mix up.
Yeah. Since we kind of had a 50-50 with Ghost and with that previous build, we'll show you how it works with the fire build, just to kind of give you an idea of the difference. You're going to see a lot of things dying very quickly just because of the Sword of the Phoenix. There's the built-in function for its primary mode, and then the is it the second or third? I think it's the second attunement, where it does an additional percentage damage
Yeah,
per application. So I've got a ton of Fire Knights, and I've got those Phoenix units there. So that's how I've adapted since the season change to be able to handle those Spirit Shield generators. If you can tag them, you have to tag them before the 5 second mark. And the reason for that is because the Ring of Unity that's being used by, we'll just go ahead and spin this while we're here. I do struggle with mind control builds from time to time. But anyway, back to the Ring of Unity. The attunement for that, the third attunement, is what causes the most problems, because those Spirit Panthers up in the front of those Wrecking Ball builds, where you've got the Paladin, the support units, and then you've got 3 Spirit Panthers up front, a couple Dire Wolves in the back,
yeah,
is just this big wrecking ball that just plows through everything. And having the Spirit Panthers up front gives you 2 cycles of immunity because they've got double faction. So when the nature, which is the second in the series to proc, that occurs at 5 seconds. So they start to push in, and even though they're starting to lose a fair amount of health, that immunity procs 5 seconds in, which will keep them alive, allow the paladin and their own natural healing to bring them back up.
right.
And then, yeah, and then a few, about 10 seconds later, after it goes through, I think it then goes to chaos and then order, or order and then chaos. But anyway, it alternates through again to where you get another 2 seconds of immunity if you've got a high enough roll on it. So yeah, we can actually look at that real fast if you'd like. So yeah, down here, after the primary effect activates on a faction, units belonging to it become immune to all damage, conditions, and physical effects for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's just incredibly powerful on multi-faction units, which is why you're seeing so many mechanical horrors these days.
Oh yeah, the ring plus mechanical horror combo is definitely very tough.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll
Couple
see.
that with Full Giant's Toe,
Yeah,
and it's
we're going through
very,
the
very uber.
suggestions that are in Discord at the moment, and
Oh yeah,
we're going to be probably this week already making some wider decisions on what to do exactly with at least 2 or 3 of the artifacts, most likely
yeah.
spear and the ring. But what they exactly are, it's We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and I had a fair amount to say on that when the proposed nerf was initially put forth. I think I've calmed down a fair bit since then. But yeah, it just it seemed like it was a cruel unintended punishment. Obviously, you have to do what you have to do to balance the game, but to have worked so hard for so long to finally get there and to obtain that magical thing that's just going to, what people were calling it the I win button. It's like, oh, you just put Spear 5 on and you win,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is not true. It's absolutely not true. It does drastically increase your chances of success. Here, I'll just throw this on auto spin for a while so people can kind of see how the top builds function. And we can discuss some of these if you'd like. But yeah, you do not have a guaranteed win. One of the main things is you will have a higher prevalence of draws. So you're going to end up with maintaining your level. Even if you don't advance very fast, you're going to maintain your trophy rating because you have more draws as a result of your units perpetually respawning and staying on the battlefield.
yeah,
That coupled with the Skull of the Necrolord, that just makes it to where you will almost always draw and almost never lose. And I say almost because, as you saw with Ghostin, he beat me once and I got him the next time. And it just all depends on the pathing and where the meteor strikes hit.
yeah.
Randu! Hey, Randu! This is okay. Now here you see Spear 5 versus Spear 5. So this is most likely going to be a draw, just because we're both using Skull 5 and Spear 5, and it's just you're going to see a skeleton dance rave here towards the end, where there's just a bunch of skeletons jumping up and down dancing.
Yeah, and just to point out, some of the viewers might have noticed. I know Randu at least has noticed that, especially in these battles where both sides have got the tier 5 spear and the skull, we're getting a lot of skulls on the battlefield, plus a lot of units, and that does start to tax on performance on some devices, some more than others. So that is just something that, yeah, I don't know. Is it dropping frames now? Possibly. I don't know. Because there's a
My phone
lot.
is handling it fairly well,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is a newer phone that I just got, so it seems to be handling it well. My older devices, I've got a Samsung A8 tablet, and that struggles with it a fair bit. And my old phone would start to slow down
Yeah.
substantially. So it was time for an upgrade.
Yeah. It's partly to do with Unity also, because we recently, a few
Yeah,
months ago, had to upgrade to the latest version of Unity. And unfortunately, as with pretty much every single Unity upgrade, the performance always takes a hit. And that's just something that happens with Unity. And it's very difficult to do pretty much anything about because it's due to the engine itself. But
yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so um, uh, I'm not sure if you want to decide where we want to go next, what you'd like to try out, or if maybe, I don't know if you want to float it to the chat and see if they want me to try something or do
yeah. I
something
mean,
different,
what
or
do folks go shout out in the chat? What do you want to see? What do you want? What do you, what would you like us to talk about or do or try? We do have my Crucibles minions in the background, ready to do something if needed. If we run out of stuff to do and talk about, then we can launch a quick sign up and roll into a quick mini fight night for the folks here in the stream. It is up to you.
yeah, I do have the Wrecking Ball build set up on my third layout, so I can show that in action if people
Uh,
want to see that as well. See
Destroy
how
there
that
saying, we
performs.
want the secret Matt was talking about.
uh, well, the secret requires um, requires cooperation. We'll give that as the only hint.
Okay, so it requires clan cooperation. I excellent.
Hmm.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of goes to the larger issue. There's just some simple uh, simple functions in the game that are built in that just make it to where a true competition doesn't necessarily occur.
Hmm.
And I'll mention more about that in a minute. But here's the Wrecking Ball build. You can adapt this a fair number of ways. Right now, I've just got a Monster Hunter and a Wind Reaver in there. I've kind of duplicated, I think it's Pause 96 on this
Mm-hmm.
one. The kind of the initial Wrecking Ball, I'm fairly confident I'm the one who came up with it to begin with, but it didn't have the Spirit Shield generator.
Yeah.
This one doesn't have it either because I just replicated what Pause has. But when you see people like Fredega, Ghostin, and who else is using it? Guivo is kind of using a Wrecking Ball setup. Sometimes they'll have the Spirit Shield generator, sometimes they won't. It mows through those Chaos Hordes very well, but if you've got a Draining Spirit with Bleed, that can end very quickly. So we can spin this a few times and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Kind of show you the Wrecking Ball in action. I may not have as high level units as some of the people that are using this, but I should be able to function fairly well. Some of the key elements for this, you see those Endless March just getting shredded. Sorry, Frankie. The reason for that is primarily due to the Great Hammer, since the Spirit Panthers. Sorry, brain shut down there for a second. The Spirit Panthers and the Dire Wolves both do a frontal cone AoE attack, and that is affected by the Great Hammer. Okay, so here you're going to see how well this functions against an MC build because the Spirit Panthers in the front can keep pushing ahead. Oh, well, maybe it didn't function that well. Good job, Shell.
That's RNG for you.
um, yeah. Sometimes it doesn't work out so hot. Usually, when I run this, I have crows in there, and that'll change the dynamic against MC builds. It only takes one hit with a crow to delay that Mind Corruptor long enough for that to push through. But yeah, the the key elements here, you've got the Great Hammer, which gives you a massive amount of damage for the bulk of the units that you've got in there. It also improves the radius of your Drummer's aura, your um, Bard's aura, and your Paladin's aura.
Yeah.
So when I kind of came up with this for farming way back in the day, I think it was maybe 2 eras ago, it was all just about maximizing that Great Hammer and just swinging right through the battlefield and crushing everything in its path. So you have sustain just to keep mowing through. Now there's some draining spirits in here. If they have bleed, I'm toast. Um, yeah, if they don't have bleed, there's a chance. Yeah, so might have to consult with someone like Pause if you want better power stones, because I may not have the right one set up. Oh, looks like I may still pull this off.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Nope, defeat. Draining spirits got
What?
me.
Oh, come on.
It looked really promising, didn't it? Uh-oh, here comes Frankie again. Sorry, Frankie, I'm not trying to beat you up. Um, but yeah, kind of going back to the build before the Spear 5 build,
Mm-hmm.
with Endless March setups like that, where they've got the Storm Dragon will push all those skulls and spread them out across the battlefield, and it makes it a lot easier for the Spear to resurrect things. I might actually function better if I put my Spear on for this, but I'm trying to replicate exactly what the other guys had. We'll show the
Yeah.
Spear and see how that functions. Because yeah, since I am not using the Spirit Shield generator, my units will be able to be resurrected because those corpses aren't going to be consumed by anything. So yeah, this build that you're seeing from, and I can't pronounce this guy's name. It's in Cyrillic, so I have no idea how to pronounce
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But this build is the only build I've seen in the top 30 that uses Amulet of the Panther Queen. And so props to him for pulling that off. Good job. I guess if you don't have Ring 5, you can make do with that. But yeah, that's the only time I've seen the Amulet of the Panther Queen in weeks. Let's see, we'll just let this run for a minute. So this will mow through very well initially, but if it reaches overtime, those draining spirits are going to stack that bleed incredibly fast. And I'm fairly sure Admiral has bleed on it. Shout out to Admiral Hunter. Hey, man. Good to see you. Yeah. Represent TST.
Now this is actually
Yeah.
this is cool to see in action. top
Yeah,
the top ranked
you know that.
builds fighting against each other. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, you can only really get one side of it if unless you watch someone's YouTube stream like
Yeah,
Randu. He'll post a bunch of gameplay videos and things like that. But if you're just going to friendly fight somebody, all you're really going to see is them mow you over most of the time. Like if I was to hop on one of my lower level profiles and do a friendly fight, I'm not going to get an idea for how that build really functions. That and if you're on a build that only has level 4 artifacts, it's not going to function the same way. It's
yeah.
just not going to have the same, uh, excuse me, the same utility. Okay, so here this could be another loss. What I might do is I might, after this battle ends, here we'll turn off the auto spin. I'm going to throw 2 sets of crows in here and show how that affects this particular matchup. We'll do a friendly fight. See, yeah, I just don't have the ability to push all the way through. So we'll drop that. And you know what would be even better is if I actually got the Spirit Shield generator in there. So let's do that. That'll be up here. Pop that in. And then we'll find Shelius. There he is. Friendly fight. Okay, so yeah, they will get mind controlled initially, but now they've killed a unit that's popped the shield, and any unit that dies is going to keep that shield going, and here I go, just mowing right through. So just one simple tweak, switching out one unit, can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah. We're going to try something next. I want you to do a normal spin after this one.
Normal spin? Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
you're going to see if you can force me to match up with someone in particular?
Yes, me. Though
we,
to be honest,
we know who the master is here.
yeah, I haven't had time to properly do any power stones since season
Oh,
change. But we'll
okay,
see.
okay.
Yeah, just spin
So,
up a normal battle.
all
And
right, here we go. Crucible, there it
there
is.
we go. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, you've got the Celestial Spear. Oh, wow. Wow, I'm dying very quickly. Oh, there's Spear. Ha!
Yeah, there you go.
For newer players that may not know, this may be a good time to go over some of the functions so that you can understand.
Oh!
Oh, yeah, I died. You got me. um, but while we go through these next couple of battles, I want to. Oh, Shelios. Huh, how about that? Um, just kind of explain a few of the elements of why these things function the way that they do.
Mm,
Spirit Shield Generator starts without an active shield. It can only initiate a shield once something that's within that radius, once there's a corpse within that radius. It'll
yes.
pick up a corpse from that radius to generate the shield, which will then protect it. And if that shield gets diminished, it will pick up another skull. So for the build that I was using earlier, when these Wrecking Ball builds would come through as an opponent, they would suck up all those skulls, which would prevent that spear from having anything to hit. There's just nothing for it to land on. So since I'm using the Spirit Shield generator, my own skulls can be consumed by that Spirit Shield generator, which may diminish that third attunement for the Spear of Cataclysm.
Yeah.
So that's a double-edged sword here because yeah, if my skulls are there, then they can resurrect. If they're consumed, then I have nothing to work with, and the spear loses a massive measure of its utility.
Yeah.
So another thing to for newer players, gosh, we just might need to do a friendly fight just to show a build that'll have a lot of skulls in it, and I may need to ditch the uh, Spirit Shield generator to show how this works. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, Spirit Shield generator. See if I can
While you do that, I could
collect
have a
it.
quick word. Folks noticed
Yep.
there that my army won. I'm not even top 1,000 at the moment. Usually my account rotates around maybe the top 700. Now it's not even in the top 1,000, but it beat Mathermar. And how can that be? Why isn't my account doing
Yeah.
so well then? Well, that's the thing. The meta of the game actually changes as you go along through the ratings. So one army might be absolutely devastating at one point in the game, but then you advance 100 points or so, and then your army is not good anymore. And so that's one thing that especially new players need to realize that you can't just come up with the ultimate build that will just flatten everybody. I don't think
Yep,
there is such a build. There's
that's
always going to
absolutely
be some
correct.
area in the game along the ranks that will counter it.
Yeah. Yeah, and along with that, we'll get a thing started while we're going here. Let's try Big Dooney. He's got chaos, so we'll run this against him. We'll go back to what you were just talking about in just a second. But when you see the skulls dropping on the battlefield, you will see brown skulls. I think they're brown or gray, and you'll see blue skulls. And the blue skulls are friendly skulls. That means they're skulls from your units. The gray skulls are enemy skulls from enemy units. So when the spear is striking and it's hitting right here, those are all gray skulls. I'm not going to resurrect any of those skulls. So down here, there's one blue skull left, and that just got resurrected. Pop, came right back up. So when you're using the spear, or let's see, was there any? I don't think any of the other units discriminate. Like if it's a soul pylon, a necromancer, a
No,
spirit shield generator,
that'll
any of
be
those things, it
anything.
doesn't discriminate. Whatever skull is there, it'll pick it up. But the spear does distinguish between the skulls, and that's where you may have some difficulty. That's why smaller group like this, and this may not be that small actually. There's Titan builds where you have fewer units than that.
Yeah,
But if you have a Titan build that you're trying to run with this, you're going to have less than 15 skulls on the battlefield at any given time, and that's going to be very difficult for the Spear of Cataclysm to catch any of those. That's why the first two builds that we showed today worked so well, because they have so many skulls. And the reason that the Mind Corruptor configuration worked so well last season was because I was converting the units to my side, and then when they die while Mind Corrupted, they become blue skulls. So I'm not sure if that's intended, but that is how it functions. So I utilize that by thinking, I ended up in draw after draw after draw. And I thought, well, how do I get rid of all these skeletons so that they're not just spawning invincible skeletons over and over and over again with Skull 5? And the thought came, well, if I just convert them to my side, then they
yep,
become my skulls, and there's no skulls for him to resurrect from.
yeah. That'll work the
So yeah,
same as well. Units that spawn underlings like Earth Elemental. If it's
yep.
mind corrupted while it's in the big form and it gets killed, the children of the unit will become the faction that it was mind corrupted as.
And will remain so unless they are mind controlled and then do a further split. Like
Yes.
if
Yeah.
you were to mind control the split from an earth elemental and it died, then it would revert back to you.
Yes. Yes.
So it's convoluted, but once you understand how it functions, it can kind of up the level of your strategy,
Yeah.
knowing how these things work. So yeah, you can see some blue skulls through here, some gray skulls. Anytime the blue ones get hit, it'll res that unit. Okay, so I feel like that kind of explains the Wrecking Ball build. They can see I've got about a 50% win rate on that right now. Um, it functions very well against Chaos, functions very well against EMs. Trying to think of what else it does well against. It does do well with the Spirit Shield generator against Spear 5. But that depends on if your enemy is using Sword of the Phoenix or something else.
Yeah.
Because with the Sword of the Phoenix, I have a much higher success rate against the Wrecking Balls than with the Mind Control. So yeah, see, EMs have endurance, but this one has, I think, much more endurance to it, coupled with that AOE frontal cone damage. And I should probably actually take a look at the Power Stones. I think I've got Bleed on the Spirit Panthers. So they're stacking Bleed on those Endless March. And while it may not amount to much in the beginning, over the course of the battle, it ends up becoming a huge tick every couple of seconds that makes a big difference. I mean, you could use regular power, attack power stone, or a crit power stone, and that does very well against a lot of the Skull 5 armies, the Chaos Hordes that you see.
Yep.
But the Bleed functions very well against EMs, and especially the Titan builds. In fact, let's pop over to see one of those. Let me see who has that. Top players, who has toe ring? I like to call them toe ring builds because they use the toe in the ring.
Jepser,
Uh,
Simagigi,
yeah,
Gorka
let's see. Yeah,
Morka.
either Simo or let's see who I see for. Yeah, Gorka Morka. Where did I see him? We'll do Gorka Morka. We'll pick
There
on
he
my
is.
clanmate here. Yeah. Okay. So the bleed that the Spirit Panthers have, that's going to stack on those units, even though they kind of might be going down fast anyway. But yeah, here the Earth Elemental has a lot more HP than the Storm Dragon, and you can. Oh, where you'll really see its shine is on these mechanical horrors, because they have a time frame where they are immune. Every 5 seconds, they're immune for 2.
Yeah.
But I'm stacking up bleed every time they're vulnerable, and it's gonna pop here eventually, and down it goes. So yeah, you just kind of have to look at what you're primarily facing in your given bracket. If you're up against a lot of toe ring builds where you've got a lot of really beefy units that can take a pounding, then that bleed is really going to count. If you're up against a horde, a chaos horde, then you're going to want probably crit because that just annihilates units instantaneously. And with that frontal cone AoE, it's just going to kill a bunch of those units with one hit. And it just helps you to progress further and move through. And I think that's kind of the key element of taking on those hordes is you can't dilly dally. If you get to the point where you're hitting the frenzy or overtime or whatever it's called, that's when you're in trouble. So the key feature of this build is that it moves.
Yeah.
You got to get to where you need to be, and that's why I think the Bard is so integral to this setup. You're able to skip right over roots. Oh, Simo,
Oh.
Simo, you got me. Good job. But yeah, so this build uh, got a 43% win rate. I don't have it optimized. I just kind of threw it together to kind of show how it functions. If there's another build people want to see, we can throw it together real quick. It shouldn't take too long. So, like if somebody's looking at someone else's build and they're like, "Hey, show me how so and so does their thing," I can try.
Let's see. Somebody did have a request to do that. Let's see. We've got an active chat tonight. It's
Yeah, I'm not following the chat. I apologize. I should probably have that up so I can see what people are saying.
I think Battle Sypo.
Saipo. Oh, yes, from our Russian
CYPO.
friends.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I can
He's
do that.
banking that he
Do they
could
have a?
win, though I don't know what, because this was quite a while ago. I don't know what build we were. I think we were doing the Wrecking Ball at that point as well.
I can just run them both. That's fine. Yeah, just do one right after the other. Friendly fight's super easy. So, and I think that was a great feature, but also had its downsides. um,
Yeah,
the
as pretty
friendly
much
fight,
all features do.
yeah.
There'll be those who like it,
Saipo
those
should
who
be here
don't.
towards the top. If I oh here he is. Okay, he's number 31. Okay, so we'll run the wrecking ball against him real quick. Okay, now he's got a draining spirit, so I've got to get this resolved before the frenzy hits, or I'm going to be in trouble. Now he does not have Spear 5, so that's going to save me a lot of trouble having to zip back and forth across the battlefield to kill the stuff that's popping up all over the place. You could, in theory, run Spirit Shield Generator against this, and that would soak up a ton of the skulls, and it would actually protect a lot of your units as well. Oh, see, here comes that draining spirit back. He's going to make it back. Yep. Okay, I better finish this before I'm toast. Frenzy's hit. You see those health bars? Yep,
Ooh,
I'm gone.
wow.
It was looking so great.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's just how it rolls.
Jepster's asking, do 8 times Plague Bearers and 8 times Risen Warriors with Spear 5. Curious how
8
that
times
goes.
Plague Bears and Risen Warriors. Okay, so just stack the unit with bodies, or stack the battlefield with bodies.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
can
here's
have a
yeah,
go
here's
at doing
Saipo
that.
again. This is with the fire build, and this will show you how the fire build functions much differently. This will change it to where I had a chance of losing with the wrecking ball. I now have no chance of losing. This will end in a draw.
Yeah.
There's just no way he's going to be able to take me down, and there's a very high probability that I do not take him down either. So 90% chance of a draw, 10% chance for a win, 0% chance for a loss. And that's one of the key elements of elevating your rating. If you never lose, you never drop in rating. You only have to win 10% of the time to advance your profile higher.
Yeah.
If the other 90% of the time you never lose, even if you're not winning, you're staying where you are and you're advancing. Not to mention that whenever other people are spinning against you, every time somebody does lose to you, that will boost your rating as well. And if you draw with them while they're spinning, then you stay the same anyway. So it's a very slow road, but you can force yourself forward by not losing if you can figure out a way to do it. That's why you had to remove the movement power stone from crows not too long ago. So
Yeah.
okay, so let's okay, I think okay, we've seen how this one functions. I'm gonna scrap it now because it's not functioning as well, and we'll see if we can accommodate Jepser. So he said 8 plague bearers. We'll just throw them on. I'm not sure which ones have slow or not. Let me just put the slow ones on the back. Okay, that's that one and that one. Just particular about strategy. If you put the ones with slow in the back, then it spreads the skulls around the battlefield. Let's see. He also said risen.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Risens and
spread
RDs.
these.
No, not RDs. What were they? Plague
There's
bearers and
risen
risen
and plague
warriors.
bearers, 8 of
Yeah.
each. So we can do that. I got 2 points left. Any put some crows in there. crows with spear 5
Oh dear.
drastically increases your or drastically decreases your chance at a loss. It will force a draw many times. Okay, so here, what would be best? We can use stompers. We could use cauldron. So there's a couple different options for common artifacts. We definitely want skull and we definitely want spear. So it's either cauldron or stompers. Those are the only two that I think would function well. So let's just run with stompers. We'll see how that
Yeah.
goes, and then we can try. Okay, so here's the spirit shield generator. This is gonna chew up all of those corpses. So I may actually lose this one quite quickly, and if I may have this handily. Okay, see the skulls. Oh, actually, okay, this is a very key point to make. See how the skulls are not getting eaten up? Do you know why that is?
Well, I do know there's a cooldown on gathering the skulls.
Yeah, but the reason that they're not getting eaten up is because I do not have any ranged units. So that spirit shield generator, the only time it sucks up a skull is if it needs to refresh it. If it's not being attacked,
There
it
you
does
go.
not need to refresh. So those skulls are still on the battlefield. It's slowly starting to pick them up. But yeah, it's just not going to pick them up nearly as fast if your opponent doesn't have any ranged units, because then you're not attacking the shield. Oh, here we go, another wrecking ball build. I seem to be running into all the counters. Are you forcing this behind the scenes?
No, no, I'm not doing anything here.
All you wrecking balls, you're making me look bad. No, it's just fine. Yeah, the wrecking ball build, they work fantastic for this exact scenario. They'll just mow right through and knock everything down. That's why having things like the Sword of the Phoenix with some fire units,
Mm,
or if the power stones are right, the Mind Corruptor to convert the units back to your side,
yeah.
that can work very well as well. But I prefer the fire because the fire will breach that, especially if you're using the fire dragon or the phoenix. That'll penetrate the spirit shield generator's shield. The only problem with the spirit shield generator is, and I saw Ghostin actually do this. When the season first started, he had his army right down here, and
Yeah.
I parked a fire dragon right in front of him. And when the battle started, that fire dragon just dropped a nuke right on his entire army, and everything would die within a matter of seconds. And props to Ghostin, he backed his army up, and where he put it, the timing hit just perfect for when his army met mine. The ring procced to nature. So 5 seconds in, it switches to nature, and his units were immune for 2 seconds, and he was able to mow through and push through. So placement is a huge factor. I placed the dragon, it countered him. He moved his army, it countered me,
Yep.
and back and forth. The meta changes every hour or so. You're going to have a completely different run of opponents because everybody's tweaking things to beat everybody. Okay, so this one's going to be a little more challenging just because I don't have any bleed on any of these units, so they're not going to be pushing those endless march down, and everything's congregated in one little line. Oh, hold on, here we go. Wow. Okay,
This
I was
next one
surprised
is
that
going
run.
to be really interesting.
Oh, okay, so I'll just let it spin. Here we go.
Here we go.
Why are you using crown?
Oh no! Well, crown's there.
Okay. Yeah. So sorry, I'm probably just rambling on. Were there any questions? I should probably just pull up the stream and mute it so that I can see what people are asking. Let's do that.
Gorkamork is actually saying, telling you not to teach me how to play this because I'm still responsible for the fight armies.
Yeah, if we tell you all the
Yeah.
tips and tricks, then we're gonna have a much more difficult time. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I was
here's the stream.
trying to do a good army. Missed the crown anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got that. I can now see the chat. I'm going to disable the volume. Okay, so now I can see what people are saying. I can actually respond to what people are saying. Oh, somebody wants to see Thunder Lizard, it looks like. Oh, yeah, a few observations on Thunder Lizard, if you want to hear those.
Yeah.
Oh, bye, Saw. Looks like Saw is taken off. Yeah, the gentleman that you have been referring to as TSA, his name is pronounced Saw. So
Saw.
there is a slight emphasis on the T, and then Saw. So
Okay.
Saw.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a derivation from a name. It's yeah. So he explained the whole thing to me and how it's pronounced and everything. So I actually asked him specifically because I knew I was coming on the stream and I didn't want to pronounce it wrong. I'm like, oh, I should probably get
Right.
this figured out. Also,
Saw.
T31M. He his name is pronounced time. I won't explain why, but
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
pronounced time.
Yeah.
It's just it's a little bit lengthy to explain that one.
Yeah. There's quite a few of those names which using combinations of stuff that you just have to know, or you just have to know to know. There's
Right.
lots of them. More that are more
Okay.
straightforward, like Benedict. It's easy to
Yeah.
tell. But
Yeah, that one just simple replacing numbers for letters. The brain kind of compensates for that and fills in the
yes.
gaps. Okay, so let me scroll up and see. Okay, yeah, there's Jepser's suggestion. I
Immortalis, they're
see.
saying for me, it's always TSA.
Yeah.
Oh, do a quiz. I need gems for
Oh
power
yeah.
stones.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you could do an open-ended quiz like with a text field answer and see if people know what the most powerful tool in your arsenal is for boosting a rating.
Yeah, I can do that. Do.
Yeah, and I wouldn't deny anybody gems if they don't get it right, but I
Oh,
don't want
I
the entire
seldom.
community angry at me.
Yeah, I seldom deny gems from quizzes anyway. So,
Yeah.
let's see.
Yeah, I will admit that I answer as correctly as I can on my main profile, and then I just enter whatever in the other 9. So I hope that doesn't mess up your statistics and your feedback.
There's usually about 100 to 200 people answering,
Yeah,
regardless of how many watching the stream. So so it doesn't
Yeah.
mess it up too much. So the question is going to be, what is the most powerful tool you have in your arsenal to reach the top? And we will be accepting short answers or paragraph. I'll do paragraph.
You're only
So
going to need 20 to 25 characters at the most. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, if you know it.
in fact, you'd need less than 10 if you just give a very
Okay,
succinct
we'll go with the
answer.
short answer. See what we get.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still running this random drop build of plague bearers and whatever else. We should probably do something a little more
Yeah, you're going to be losing rating.
strategic. Oh yeah, I'm down to 19. So yeah, 42% win rate, which shows how powerful the spear is. So there is some measure of validity to people saying that the spear is an I win button, but it's not entirely true.
Yeah.
So it's partially true, not entirely true. Okay, I'm going to disable auto spin and we'll try something else. Are you able to shut off my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I can switch profiles. I just don't want to be flashing my player tags to everybody.
Yeah,
But I can switch over.
I was
I've
going to
got.
actually show, but my iPad has
Okay.
frozen, so I can't
Oh,
show anything on
okay.
my
So
screen.
they're not seeing me right now. I'm going to go ahead and switch over
Nope.
to my other profile. Now on this one, I have some high-level Titan or toe ring builds. Actually, I have a toe panther build because I saw what not Saipo. Saipo was the other one. The other Russian guy.
Mm.
I apologize. I can't read Cyrillic. But the other Russian guy, we saw him earlier in the stream. He was using the Amulet of the Panther Queen. Okay, I'm all switched over if
Okay.
you want to re-enable. Okay, there we go. So this is almost the exact same build as that guy that's in the top 30. He has 2 Storm Dragons, though. I don't have a high-level second Storm Dragon, so I've put in Mechanical Horror. And we can run this for a little bit so you guys can see how this works. I'm kind of floating just under 100 on this one. Okay, here we go. We're up against another Toe Panther build. How about that? It's almost a mirror image of exactly what I've copied.
Ooh, I
So,
found a visual bug.
oh yeah?
Yeah, the pendant, or no, the amulet is a bit low in the frame.
Yeah, yeah, I do see that. Yeah, it's kind of lower than the pendant and the
I don't
toe.
think it's been like
How
that
about that?
before.
I'm not sure. Maybe that's just my phone.
Mm.
Yeah. So some of the key elements for this particular setup, with the Storm Dragon, you're obviously looking to just dump a ton of bleed into whatever's in front of you. Apparently, it looks like everybody's caught on to this particular setup, and everybody's using something fairly comparable. So clearly, it works if you're looking to get up to the 1 to 200 range. Um, but the key elements to this is maximizing that toe by putting some of the most powerful units on the battlefield that you can.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everything that I have out there is nature, so using Amulet works well. But if you want to mix and match with other mythic units, you can use the ring instead. I think ring 5 would be preferable regardless. So if you do have ring 5 and Panther 5, ring 5 would win out just because you get that 2 seconds of immunity every so often, and you do get damage reduction from it as well. Um, yeah, it looks like we're just kind of running into very comparable toe ring builds in this bracket. The other build that I think I have set up on this profile is a mind control build.
Mm-hmm.
So we can run that for a little bit too and do some analysis on that if you'd like. But yeah, unless somebody has something they want to
Well, Breather is saying you should look at
try
some
out.
users' builds and come with advice for making them better.
Yeah, now might be actually a good time for a shameless plug. Anybody who wants to join TCT Discord, you can check any of my more recent videos, and the link will be in the description for my videos. Hop on our Discord server. We have a PvP channel dedicated just to this. It's open source. Anybody can hop on and get some tips and tricks. We actually had a guy join recently. I think his name is Ben. Yeah, oh yeah, it was Ben. Um, he joined and he was, I think, at 4,200 when he started, and he's at about 5K when the season ended.
Yeah.
So we were able to give him some tips and tricks that boosted him 800 trophy rating, and it's open source. Hop on in. You do not have to be a member of a TCT clan or TST to participate in that. It's open source to everybody. Okay, so here, okay, this one works very well against swarms. If you have a chaos swarm or a phylactery swarm, that tree will do a tremendous amount of heavy lifting to stop things in their tracks.
Yeah.
And the catapult is going to just devastate groups of smaller units because they're usually all clustered together. So here, the bleed is going to be stacked. Oh, look at that tick on the tree. That bleed does not take long to stack from a Storm Dragon when there's a big unit in front of it. You'll notice the pathing on the lightning from the Storm Dragon will gravitate to larger units, and it'll stack that bleed like crazy. See, I've just stacked a ton of bleed in there, but it may not be enough. This, yeah, he's probably got me here. Oh, Mr. Roger! Ahoy, Captain! Yeah, Space Pirates. I've got an alt in there. These guys are a ton of fun. It's not obligatory to talk like a pirate, but it is encouraged. Yeah, if anybody's looking for a fun clan to be a part of, Space Pirates is totally fun. Oh, Jepser wants me to look at his build. Let's see. Oh, sorry, we're stalled out here. Okay, no, thank you. Nice as it would be to have that. Okay, so Jepser, yeah, I'll actually take on Jepser with this. Let's see how it does. Top players. Jepser, where are you, Jeps? There you are. Let me fight. Okay, so double Phoenix, top and bottom. That's fantastic for playing into an endgame strategy. I had a build like this that I made a video about ages and ages ago that I called Phoenix Pong, where you'd have entangling roots in the middle and a bunch of draining spirits tagged onto some fire knights. The entire horde would kill the phoenixes right off the beginning, and then they'd gravitate to those fire knights in the entangling roots. And then the phoenix would pop up on both sides and start pummeling them with fire. And the horde would run back and forth across the entangling roots, just getting burned to death. it was a semi troll build, but it was also a legit strategy. I feel worked pretty good. Oh yeah, see that mechanical horror with ring 5 is just gonna be the last thing standing almost every single time. Nice. Well done, Jepser. Okay, is there anybody else that we can do a little further analysis on him until somebody else pops up that wants me to see their build. But yeah, with Jepser.
Immortalis is saying, yeah, look at my build.
Okay, we'll do that. The tree and the celestial spear in the back. Oh, wow. See, I was cloaked with the amulet, so his beast ran back to his celestial spear. Because his celestial spear ran forward. That was the only thing the untamed beast could see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not every build is perfect. There's going to be weird nuances that don't work out every time. But most armies you're going to be able to see, especially where Jepser's at. He's in top 30. So there's only one person there with Amulet of the Panther Queen. So you don't have to beat that guy. You have to beat 50% plus 1 of everybody else at your rating to advance. Okay, so let's see. Immortalis, we will find him. Yeah, I can't type his name very well, so we'll use your clan tag, CAE.
I can. I think I can.
Oh, you can force a battle?
Yeah, if I can find him quickly. Oh dear, where are we?
Okay. Well, I'll let it spin on somebody random for now. And Antonius, THX. Oh, yeah, that's Anti-Viper's clan. Yeah, that is a good crew. They've got a solid group of people there. Yeah. Oh, that spear. Look at that. Just getting shredded. I'm going down, I think. Yeah, that Celestial Spear just knocked out one unit right after the other, and I'm toast. So yeah, yeah, a lot of these toe ring builds. If you, oh yeah, that's something I was going to mention earlier. People were talking about how to climb, and typically you can't stick with one build and climb because what's going to happen is you're going to have a settling effect. Um, it's kind of like if you were to stir up a muddy pond and all the water started to settle, the heaviest stuff would settle at the bottom, the medium stuff would settle in the middle, and
Yep.
the less buoyant stuff would gravitate to the top. So the season starts, everybody's scrambling, it's chaotic, but it will begin to settle. And what you're going to encounter is you're going to encounter a bracket of mind control. You're going to encounter a bracket of phylactery. You're going to encounter a bracket of toe ring builds.
Yep.
So right now, clearly, I'm stuck in the toe ring bracket. So it may be worth switching to a mind control build to see how that functions against those toe rings. Hey, here's the same guy. We just played him a minute ago. Let's see how it does with mind control. With the Eyes of the Ancient One, it's going to flip his units very quickly. He does not have ring 5, so that is not going to cleanse. So you're just going to have to wait for either a druid to cleanse it or for it to time out. Now he's going to run into my mind shrooms, and I think he's toast. Here's where the crows come in handy. Things like the phoenix can be incapacitated with that, and boom, Bob's your uncle. Okay, so yeah, let's see how. Oh, okay. Here's a phylactery build. I've got a giant wall of mind shrooms right at the very front. I've got a battle drummer here, which helps to semi-compensate for the crows. The problem that I run into is that it's not like supercharge, and that's one of the main differences from last season. You'd see a lot of builds like I have set up now with the battle drummer tagged on to the mind corruptor, and the
Mm-hmm.
reason that it's not functioning now is because that supercharge is gone. So instead of having what is it, maybe 10 seconds to 15 seconds of immunity, I'm not sure exactly how much it is, from physical damage and stun, I now have a brief period of time where that mind corruptor gets stunned. So it's not going to function perfectly well against every single phylactery, but the ones that don't have risen warriors in the back, they go down very easily because their whole line gets stuck right on those mind shrooms, and they do not advance because by then the mind corruptors flipping the units and just holding that line steady.
Yep.
And a key difference that you'll see between a phylactery swarm and any other swarm is that when the phylactery builds hit these mind shrooms, they come to a dead stop. If you're not using phylactery, when your units hit those, they bounce. So for whatever reason, um, when you're using phylactery, your units will just stop and stand in place, and your own units will just eat each other alive until they're all gone, and the mind corruptor just keeps everything in place. If you aren't using the phylactery, your units will get ping ponged around and knocked back. Oh, okay, looks like you got Immortalis in here.
Yep.
Oh, I think he wanted to go up against the other build though. So we might have to switch back, and I don't know if you can force him again.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so after this one's completed, I'll flip over. So he's using a very comparable setup. Looks like I'm going to get his shield down first, but my Mind Corruptor might be dead before I get there. Yeah, I'm getting hit by the splash on that. Um, with these builds, these Mind Corruptor builds, there's usually a tower in the back. I think mine got destroyed. But the reason that those towers are there is that if your army gets obliterated and that tower is just sitting back there, then that whole army has to walk through these mine shrooms to get to that tower, and you may still pull out a win just because that tower exists. So for one army point, totally worth it. I prefer the lightning spire over the crystal spire because the crystal spire will damage stuff, but it won't damage stuff fast enough to kill it. The lightning spire will stun stuff, which will enable the rest of your army to kill it before they kill any of your stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a lot of stuff. Sorry, stuff. But yeah, so that's one of the key elements of how. Okay, so now see, even if that Reno just nuked my army to death, it would have to walk through the mine shrooms. It would flip, and I would win. Okay, so let me take it off auto spin. Are you? Do you have Immortalis lined up?
Yep, he'll be
Okay,
next.
okay, I will switch to the other build. See, yeah, those toe ring builds they can struggle against mind control. Oh no, this is not. I think I was seeing what Bazoo was doing with this one, so I was trying that out to see how his build worked, but I don't think I have the right artifacts for it. And that's just how things are. Until you grind out those artifacts, you're not going to have the same level of function that those top players have. And I feel that they've earned it. You've got people who are in the top 20 and 30 right now because they took the time, they went through all the raids, they got S plus every time, and that was part of the strategy. Not all the strategy happens on the battlefield.
Yep.
Yep, looks like I am going. Oh, nope, this could be 50-50. Oh, nope, no, if that Untamed Beast gets flipped. Defeat. There we go. Good job, Immortalis. So yeah, had to run and get that tower, but it was too late. All right, so what do people want to see next?
Let's see now.
Thunder. Oh, Thunder Lizard. Oh, Immortalis had a Thunder Lizard in there,
Yeah.
so he wanted to show his lizard.
Patrick is
Thank you
asking
for sharing.
what's the best counter for the eye?
Best counter for I. If that's the only thing you're up against, then Bulwark with RDs. Let me see if I have that.
There you go, Patrick.
I do not have it on this. If you can shut off my screen share for a second, I will
Yep,
switch
just a
to Nubimus
second.
Maximus.
There we go.
Okay, so switching to Maximus. Nubimus Maximus. Okay, I am now loaded. Okay, there's phylactery. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'd have to find somebody with a mind control build. Let's just try Shelios. I know he's got it. Mitza has a mind control build most of the time. If I see him first, I'll do him. Why am I not? Did I miss him? I think I missed him. Shelios. Oh, Shelios is number 3. I went right past him. Okay, so here it's just going to be a steamroll all the way through. And again, like he's got tier 5 rare. It may not make that much of a difference because my guys are just going to keep moving forward until that whole army is mowed over. So everything has a counter. The only problem with doing doing a counter to counter a specific person is that your tweaks to counter that specific person may compromise your build against the other 40 people that you're going to get matched up against.
Yep.
So yeah, so this is my third profile, but I'm able to take down somebody in the top 3 with it. But that's not going to matter because until I get to the top 3, it's not going to really count.
Yeah.
You can pick any particular person and beat their build, but it's not going to matter. Okay, so that is. Oh, and this brings me back to the point that I keep referring to that I'm going to talk about at some point, is how to climb. So we talked about how things settle. Here, we'll just let this run for a bit so you can see how the RDs function. Phylactery mows over the RDs pretty seriously. Um, so if you're going to climb, you're going to run into those brackets where you've just got 70% mind corruptors all the time. That's when you switch to RDs and you just mow through. Yeah, it's not as fast as your other builds, but it will win 70% of the battles because almost every mind corruptor build you go up against, it's going to win. Beneath the mind corruptor builds, like on your way up to the mind corruptor builds, there's going to be a ton of phylactery because mind control beats phylactery, so mind control is going to be above phylactery. So you grind through a bunch of phylactery to get to mind control, and you're trying to beat those mind corruptor builds, but you're going to run into some phylactery because you're still in between the two zones. So what do? So you have to try and push yourself as far into one as you can, then switch to what beats that current bracket, and hope that you don't get matched up against the previous thing that would beat what you're using to advance through the next level. So what I recommend is I recommend developing your Mind Corruptor build. I recommend getting a solid RD army, and then having a farming build or whatever your primary emphasis is that you can switch back and forth between. Um, I farm the daily gold cap on all of my profiles, so most of my profiles will use one of their 3 armies with a gold farming setup that just turns over battles quickly. Don't care about rating at all. I just want the gold, because the gold is going to advance my units, which is going to push me higher in the ratings over time. Um, the wrecking ball builds that you saw earlier, that was basically my gold farm build for the last 2 eras, just because Supercharge existed. Supercharge isn't there now. It's going to be less effective. It will still work, but now you're going to see a ton of phylactery because Supercharge isn't there. Those battle drummers are severely hampered.
Yep.
So, yeah, the meta changes every era and sometimes from season to season. See, look at this. Yeah, I'd have to push far enough in to the Mind Corruptor setups that I'm facing less phylactery in order to kind of catch it and move through the Mind Corruptors to whatever the next thing is. Usually the next thing after Mind Corruptors is RDs. How do you beat RDs? You beat it with the Wrecking Ball. So my farming build, I use the Wrecking Ball, and I use that in addition to my RDs and my Mind Corruptors to cycle through whatever I'm facing primarily at any given time to push higher in the ratings when I care about rating.
Yeah.
Usually for the first week and a half of a season, I won't even care about my rating at all. I'll just run my farming builds just to get the gold cap and not worry about anything else. That last half of the season, or the last quarter of the season, so last 3-4 days, the entire community has pushed up the trophies. So you've got this. What would be the way to look at it? It would be like uh, having a conduit through which to channel the electricity. If your cord's not long enough, it's not going to get to where it needs to be. So
Yep.
at the beginning of the era, at the beginning of the season, everybody's been dropped down to, I think, 5750 at the highest. So if you're capped out at 5750 for every single player in the game, trying to launch yourself up through all of those players who have all been bumped down, you're not going to get to the Warlord's chest or the Warlord's title very easily in that first week and a half. The last 3 or 4 days, that's pushed way higher. So now instead of trying to hit 5750 to get that title, when you've got the top 30 players sitting there as a bulwark to keep you from getting there, those top 30 players are now 6K plus. And now you only have to go through the top number 100 to number 200 players to get
Yeah.
to where you want to be.
Yeah. Destroyer, they're asking to have a look at his Destroyer. Send me a DM on Discord with your player tag.
Okay, and what does he want me to send against him?
I don't know. He just wants pointers on his build. He's stuck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, certainly. We can take a peek. Okay, and you're gonna force that. So I will disable auto spin until
Yeah,
we're ready.
I already tried searching for his account and I could not find it.
Yeah, Destroyer, if you could DM Crucible
Yep.
your player tag, that would expedite the process. I'm not sure. I think I recall seeing him in the 100 vicinity. So he may be in the top 100.
Yeah, I tried to have a look, but his name didn't jump out at me.
Yeah. Yeah, if they drop below that 100 mark, then they're not going to show on that player list.
I have a longer list at my disposal, but
Okay. Let me see what else I have. Oh, Phylactery. I've got Phylactery set up and another Mind Corruptor build. So since the Wrecking Ball has kind of uh, been hampered, I've been switching between Phylactery and MC rather than Wrecking Ball and MC. So I use Phylactery for farming just because it has quick turnovers for battles. You can get the gold cap very quickly with phylactery, especially if you don't stand in your own way. You'll see a lot of phylactery builds with an earth elemental in the way back. Yes, that will flip a few battles in your favor, but it's also going to slow down your gold farm. I don't recommend it if you're doing gold farm.
Yep.
I should actually get rid of these archers, both the Chaos Archers and the Risen Archers, if I want my gold farm to function faster. But I also don't mind taking a couple extra seconds in a battle if it keeps my rating
There we go.
slightly higher.
Go ahead and spin.
Okay, okay, so we're just going to take a look at his build. Let's see what he's got. Okay, he's got Bulwark, Crown, RDs with a Storm Dragon. Okay, first observation, you're right in the middle. You're not using the natural boundaries of the map to guard one of your flanks. So one of the reasons you saw my army down here on this bottom portion was because a ton of armies are going to be these phylactery armies or whatever else. They're going to be coming from all over the place. So if I only have to fight them on two sides rather than 1, 2, and 3, that's going to be better for me overall. I'm not sure if I can fight him again here real fast. I want to see the rest of what he has.
Line him up again.
Okay, yeah, let's do that so that we can.
Spin up.
Yeah, if I take a screenshot, I can look at it, but I need you to blur my or to cancel my feed once I do, so that I don't have my player tag showing right when I come back in.
Yep.
Okay, so let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, you can spin up.
Okay, here we go. Oh, okay, let me see what this is. Oh, that would have been nice. Oh well. No thanks. Okay, so here we go. Destroyer. Oh no, I pressed the power button without the volume button. And I just powered off my thing. Okay.
We're back.
Okay, so I took a screenshot, but I need you to cancel it again. So once I come back in. So hold on. Whoops. Yeah, cancel me for just a second. Keep me off.
Yeah, we're off
until I get to my because I have pictures of my son on here, and I don't want those on the internet. There we go. Okay, I now have fairly early in the battle screenshot. You can load me. Okay, so he's got a ton of RDs in the back, but they're right up against the back of his army. If you put slow on them and put them in the way back, then it takes them a while to get up to where everybody else is, and they will fight Risen Archers and Risen Warriors in the back. So they'll protect your rear guard, and you'll have your Storm Guards, and if you have Hammer Throwers or Archers as well, they will protect them. They will also make it less likely that your Blessed Bombot gets preemptively discharged. So you want to, what I would do is I would pick a extremity of the battlefield, top or bottom. I'd move at least 2 groups of RDs to the very back. I'd park the Blessed Bombot kind of towards the middle of the map, but in front of where those Righteous Defenders are. That way they'll kind of walk it forward slowly, and if anything pops up behind it, they'll hit the RDs first before they hit that. Other things of note. Let's see, do you have... Okay, you've got a Bard in there. I think there's a drummer too, but I don't really see it. I imagine there is. I really hope you have double bleed on your Storm Dragon. That would be the best thing to have. Another thing for my RDs, and honestly, I'm not the RD pro, but from what I do know about RDs, this is what I would do. You could talk to somebody like Christian; he might give you some better feedback. Seymora, I don't know how chatty he is, but he uses RDs a lot. He might be able to give you a better idea. What I do with mine is I will put 2 of the defensive power stones on each group of RDs and then a bleed. So you'll have 2 blue slots that you can use, and that 3rd slot, which I think is in the middle, I think that one's movement offensive. I use the bleed on that because if you end up against a toe ring build or something like that, where you've got some heavy duty units, a Titan build, something like that, then you're going to need those RDs to apply stacks of bleed because they're not going to be able to take them down fast enough.
Yeah.
So for that front line, I will put double protection, and I use the identical power stone on on each specific group of RDs. So for the three ones that I'd have in the front, I'd put double protection, bleed. For the two in the back, I'd put double cover and bleed, because a lot of what you're seeing are Risen Archers. You still see the Risen Warriors, but you're seeing a lot more Risen Archers, so I like having that cover. And another reason for having the double cover on the ones in the back is because those are the ones that are going to be alive the longest, typically. If you encounter something like this, where that initial melee swarm collides with your defensive units in the front, which have double protection, they're going to thin out all of those melee units. Not so much with Phylactery. Phylactery kind of mows over RDs no matter what you do. But if you're up against any other kind of swarm, they're going to take out those melee units first. Well, if all of your, if you put protection instead of cover, excuse me, I need a sip of water here. If you put, yeah, I'm gonna have to take a drink. Sorry, that's a lot of talking. If you put protection on these rear ones, then all of your melee is typically already resolved, and you've got a bunch of units with melee protection running forward to fight ranged units. Well, if you put cover on those rear ones, not only are they the last ones standing, but you're typically up against whatever the ranged is. So you save your ranged unit or your ranged counter RDs in the back, and that enables them to carry through that last part of the fight with all of the stacks. So that's how I would do that. Honestly, I'm not the best guy to consult on RD armies. I like to use them to get through the Mind Corruptor builds, but other than that, my experience is fairly limited. So that's the best I have to offer on that. Storm Dragon is fantastic while bleed is a thing. Once bleed is gone, you're going to want to drop that like a hot potato. You're not going to want a Storm Dragon in there. You could spend those 3 points on something way better. While bleed is existent, all you're going to see is Storm Dragons, because wow, does that ever kill some heavy duty units. It'll just, one spam of that lightning barf or whatever it is, it'll nuke those Titan builds and toe builds. You're going to do very well with that. But the dragon does die fairly easily, so that's why I do put bleed for that middle power stone slot on all of my RDs personally. But again, people may have better suggestions than what I have to offer on that. Okay. Okay, so do you want me to pop back in? If so, okay, you
Yeah,
got me
sure.
canceled.
I've lined
Okay.
up another. I lined up
Switching
breather.
over. Okay, I am now clear. Okay, I'm clear.
Oops, that one there.
Okay, so yeah, my phylactery just mowed right over him. That's just, you just have to pay attention to what you're up against most of the time.
Yeah.
If you're not up against a bunch of phylactery, RDs are a solid choice most of the time. But yeah, you just got to be careful. If you see 40% or more of phylactery builds, that's going to be trouble. Okay, so we're up against breather.
Yep.
Does he have a preference on what I put against him?
No, he just said.
Okay, he just wants me to look at it.
Have a
Okay,
look at
so
it.
I'm going to take a screenshot of what he's got going on, and hopefully I don't turn off my phone again. Okay, screenshot acquired. Okay, so if you'll, okay, you got me blocked.
Oh.
Let me switch over. Whoops, I opened Facebook. That's not what I wanted. Okay, I should be clear. You can bring me back. Yeah, that would be another recommendation for Godspeed, is if they can even just do a superficial button that covers your player tag in that pause menu. That would
Yeah.
solve a ton of problems for streamers.
Yeah, or have
Because
it
you
in a
don't want your,
different place. I'm not
yeah,
100% sure, but I believe at some point very early in the game, possibly in beta stages, the player tag was further down below where the app version is now. So
yeah,
that would also be better
yeah.
because
So
it's not straight up
that would be
visible.
helpful. It's not super crucial because there's so few people that are even going to be affected by it, but it would be super nice if they can do a simple tweak or something. Okay, so I see 2 groups of direwolves, 3 groups of spirit panthers. We got a monster hunter in there, a bard, a drummer, a paladin, and a group of crows. I think that covers everything. So, okay, this is a Wrecking Ball build, and what he using? Okay, so he's got Ring 4, and oh, okay, so Spear 5. That's good for quick turnover. If you're looking to climb, I might prefer, if you only have Tier 4, I might prefer Pendant. That's going to give you a lot of health later on in the battle, and that health, when you have Spirit Panthers and Paladins healing those Spirit Panthers in the front, that's going to give you a lot of sustain, and you're going to be able to grind through a lot of different things. So if you're just farming, Spear is fantastic. If you're looking to improve your rating, I would go with Pendant. With these crows, I would actually put them right up in the front. The sooner they get to a Mind Corruptor, the sooner you're pushing further forward and getting to where you need to be. You're going to have trouble with Mind Corruptors anyway because you've only got Ring 4. Once you get Ring 5, that's going to be a different story. Something you can do if you are up against almost exclusively Mind Corruptors is you can drop your Dire Wolves, put in Storm Guards, and switch to Crown. Because then everything can be cleansed. And you will just mow through those MC builds like you wouldn't believe. The problem is you have to have a majority, like a substantial majority of the Mind Corruptor builds for it to improve your rating. Because if you're up against anything else, you're losing an awful lot of push. Because those Dire Wolves amp up the Spirit Panthers like crazy. So it's again, it's a toss-up. It depends on what you're up against. And you just kind of have to see what's prevalent in your current bracket and counter that. Looks like he's at number 132. So I think where he's at right now is just at the top of the Mind Corruptor group and about to hit the Toe Ring builds. So you're going to do fantastic against the Toe Ring builds, but you're going to struggle against the Mind Corruptors. You might be able to get away with beating most armies most of the time if you did that tweak to Crown. I tried it for a while, and it worked well to get me up another 20 placements, but I stalled out after that. So, but if you can get far enough past the Mind Corruptors, then you can switch back to the Ring and to the Dire Wolves, and that should help. So that would be my recommendation for Breeder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So what else have we got? Oh yeah, I'll ping back in here, get the pause off. Okay, my player tag is cleared. So yeah, he's going to do very well against phylactery builds too, because while the supercharged Power Stone is no longer available, having a drummer in there with double enhance, you're going to be able to hold the line on a phylactery. And all the phylactery just encompasses your group, and you have a ton of Spirit Panthers and Dire Wolves doing cleave damage through that entire group. And by the time they get anywhere near low on health, they're going to be just fine. Oh, okay, so here we got phylactery against phylactery. This guy's probably going to win. I can tell you right away. I'm going to struggle because he's got more units in the rear than I do. So since his frontline army was smaller, his frontline army is still going to have that delayed death, just like my frontline army. So since I had a bigger group, more of my army points committed to the front, his army was able to kill that army just as much as I killed his front army, but now he's left with more points on the battlefield still. So, and sorry, I wasn't watching, but did I lose? I think I lost.
Yeah, I think you did.
So totally called it. But yeah, that's one of the elements to having the Risen Warriors and the Risen Archers for those phylacteries, and crows. Crows can sometimes flip a battle for you just because they're flying around in the air, and as long as you can, if you're up against another phylactery, and you've got a crow flying around, and you have a better roll on the second attunement, I think it's second. Well, let's have a look at it real fast. Phylactery of Silent Whispers, second attunement. Yes. Okay. So whenever your ethereal unit is about to die, it stays alive for up to 2 seconds. Uh, for phylactery armies, you almost need to disregard that first one entirely and roll until you get this to a 2. If you have this at 1.9, you will lose to every other phylactery that has it at 2.
Yep.
It's almost guaranteed. If you die a fraction of a second before they do because you only have this at 1.9, that's on you. Drop those, drop a little bit of gold and a little bit of artifact fragments on it to get it to 2, and it will boost your rating substantially. Okay, so what's next? We got anybody that wants to have me take them on, give them some suggestions, or should we switch back to my main profile and run that for a minute?
Yeah, I don't have any questions at the moment in the chat, so we can switch
Okay.
back.
Thunder Lizard build. Okay, so
Yeah.
Immortalis wants to do Thunder Lizard. Okay, you're gonna have to cancel me there. Okay,
Yep.
switching to main, confirm, loading, and okay, so I should be good to go. Okay, so he wanted to see a Thunder Lizard, so let's actually take out a Phoenix. That's the okay. Just making sure I got the lower level one. Always want your best foot forward. Okay, he's way down at the bottom. Thunder Lizard. So we'll just plunk him right in the middle. See how that does. If we need to move him, we'll move him. Oops. I'm trying to move that. There we go. All right, let's let that run for a hot second. Oh, okay, we're up against Immortalis.
Yeah, it's possibly I had him lined up first there, and
Yeah,
I realized
I
that
would
we've
not
changed to Nubimus.
I would not be typically matched up against him if I were at this rank. I would probably only be matched down to about 32-ish. So, yeah. Oh, he's got his Thunder Lizard going down there. One of the things about the Thunder Lizard is it does an ignite upon attack. So you'll notice that anytime my Thunder Lizard hits something, it's hitting like a truck. Anytime his Thunder Lizard hits something, it's just a normal attack. The Sword of the Phoenix is going to take, it can actually one-shot a unit over time. So against a big swarm like this, oh, and let me see if, okay. I was under the impression that the melee attack from the Thunder Lizard applied burn, but it does not.
No, it doesn't.
So
No.
that's something my clan and I were debating that the other day, and or Randy, I think I was just talking to Randy. But I was trying to see if it was the Thunder Lizard that was the tail swipe that was applying burn, but it's only the lightning attack that
Yep.
applies burn. Okay, so that's resolved. I guess we sorted that out. Yeah, because I thought, wow, a sweeping cleaving attack like that, applying burn, that would be incredible. But yeah, it's nice enough that the lightning attack applies burn because you can, and I'm fairly confident it penetrates all the shields. So if you've got Barrier Monk or Spirit Shield Generator, it may one-shot units right through that. Maybe let's find somebody that has one of those and see if we can. We'll do either a friendly fight or force a fight for it. Because I want to see if that lightning attack will actually just disregard the shield. So somebody, okay, who's running Wrecking Balls? So yeah, either Paz, Guivo, Fredega, or Ghostin. Okay, we kind of featured Ghostin early on in the stream, so let's pick one of these other guys. I think Guivo is actually using Barrier Monk instead of Spirit Shield. I could be wrong. Let me check him and see what he's got. So we'll just let that complete. Okay, so let's find Guivo and see if he's got. There he is. Do I see him? Yes. Okay, so he's using the monk. Yeah, okay, I'm seeing those lightning strikes go right through that shield. I'm not sure if anybody else saw the same thing, but see, it's basically a death sentence unless the unit has some level of a built-in immunity or a power stone. So I think the Monster Hunter had either a resist power stone. I don't think they're naturally immune to burn. Not anymore, at least. They used to be.
The
But
Monster Hunter.
yeah, the Monster Hunter, I don't think it
Yeah,
has
no,
burn
it doesn't.
immunity.
No.
Okay, so he must have had a power stone on it because it was not a one-shot. but pretty much any other unit that doesn't have a natural built-in immunity to burn or a power stone that will mitigate that is going to be killed by a single shot from that. It just takes a few seconds for the ticks to burn through the health. So yeah, we can just let this run for a little while longer. And okay, this is probably going to be a draw. It's just going to be a skeleton dance rave at the end, and yeah, might just since I've already dropped from number 1 down to number 18, we don't have to care so much about finishing every single battle. We've seen Saipo plenty of times. We'll just go ahead and give him a nice little boost there. That's a hint for everybody. Um, Zaishai Braun. We fought him several times as well. So
Yep.
um, maybe what we ought to do is there's a couple of builds that I wanted to give honorable mentions to. We've already talked about our Russian friend, or I don't know if he is Russian or not. He's in a Russian clan. He's the guy with the tier 5 amulet in the top 30. So shout out to you for being able to hold your own with the less ideal rare artifact. So good on him for that. Let's see. The other ones that I had of note from yesterday, now these may have changed. People might have switched up their builds. Team, so T31M, he is the only one that I've seen running a legit Titan build. So he's holding his own in the top 10 to 30. Most oftentimes he gets up in the top 10 too. It's getting a little harder with all the Chaos builds with Skull 5 to stay in the top 10 with other stuff. But that was the only Titan build I saw in the top 30 yesterday. And okay, Hate Me. So Hate Me is running a Claw build. So let's go up against Hate Me next and see how the Claw does. He's the only. I think there's only 2 people that I saw using the Claw of the Frost Dragon, and I forgot who the other person was. So we're just gonna go with Hate Me. Okay. All right. There we go. Wow, that's very rare that we overcome a Chaos Horde with
And then
a win instead of a draw.
can
Okay, so let's
confirm that
see.
the Thunder Lizard's lightning does penetrate barriers.
Nice. Okay, where are you, Hate Me? Okay, let's save some time and just go to our clan. There we go. Let's see if he's still running it. Yep, okay, so he's still running a Frost build. Okay, he's dropped down to 46, but he was in the 20s yesterday. And this was holding its own then. Again, the meta shifts almost hourly. So what carries you one day can sink you the next. But it's still holding very well. That's not bad at 46, especially with Claw of the Frost Dragon. That's something that you rarely see in the top. I know Jepser has a Frost build that he likes to use. And let's see what else. There's one other shout out I was going to do. Oh, Christian. Christian0029. He was the only RD build that I saw. Like that was like legit RDs across the board. So
Christian
we can
likes
pop
his
him open
RDs.
here. Yes, he does. I'm sure he's still up here somewhere. So let's track him down, unless he's dropped down to farm or something. Christian, where'd you go? There you
There
are.
it is.
Okay. So yep, there he goes. Oh, he's using Claw. So he's also using Claw of the Frost Dragon. Fascinating. Normally you see Bulwark with RDs, but I guess if you're up against non-condition armies most of the time, then you don't really need the Bulwark. So with all these Chaos armies running around, it might actually be more helpful. So yeah, okay. Christian. Oh yeah, 8800. That's who it was. Thanks, Jake. So yeah, that's the other one that was using a Frost build. So you can get into top 50, even top 30 with the Claw of the Frost Dragon, but it requires some RDs.
Yep.
Okay. What else do we want to do? Is there anything anybody wants me to try? Any experiments? We can switch out our Thunder Lizard. I think we've got a good feel for what that looks like. Uh, then I was rolling with the fire dragon yesterday until we were getting ready for the stream, and I tried Phoenix, and that seemed to work better. Oh, Fozzie! Looks like he's using Claw too. Okay, so that's 5 builds now using Claw the Frost Dragon. That's pretty solid. That's a nice representation. So it can be done.
Yeah. Immortalis asking about your opinion on a necromancer build.
Necromancer. It's not very strong right now, simply because of things like the spirit shield generator becoming more prevalent. Wrecking ball builds, they're going to mow right through, and you see a lot of those. Um,
Oh,
even the toe ring
yeah.
builds, those are going to stomp over necromancer pretty
Yeah, he's
bad.
corrected. He's talking about the Revenant, actually. But yeah, the
Oh,
Revenant is indeed not as powerful as it could be.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, Revenant. I've honestly never been even tempted to plug it into an army. I'm sorry to say, it's just not ready for prime time.
Yeah.
Um, there needs to be some other shift. Like the design of the unit isn't wrong, the environment is. So, and hold on. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it
If
does.
the,
It
the, the unit the unit can function as intended if the environment weren't the way that it is presently. So there has to be some shift in the meta, whether it's power stones or some tweak in an artifact or something that would make it more functional. Because right now it just doesn't have the ability to endure long enough. Um, yeah, anytime I've seen a revenant, I've just been like, oh, I win. It's just you've spent 3 army points on something that's not going to carry your army through to any measurable
yeah.
success.
Yeah,
So
there's been
yeah,
some brainstorming in design as to what to do with it. It's
I
known that
yeah
it is useless at the moment, pretty much. Except if
yeah
you happen to get it early on in the game, then you might have some edge case uses for it. But there's some
yeah
wild ideas out there at the moment. Change it to a one shot unit that it can one
yeah I
shot the highest, but that will then also cause other things. People just randomly start putting in walls or something to drag it in. But
yeah
we'll see.
I
It
I
requires
honestly
some
don't know.
rework.
There's a lot of potential options for what could be done. I
Mm,
mean, the world's your oyster if you want to open the doors on what could be done to it. Um, like if there's some measure of invulnerability um, upon killing a unit or something. So like if it successfully one-shotted a unit, it would get immunity or something.
yeah,
Because then what you would do is you would put your revenant in the way back so that it took time to travel, and then you'd have your swarm or your horde thin down whatever you were up against, and then every time it killed something, it's like, okay, I'm invincible for 2 seconds. Boom! I just killed another thing that refreshed it. I'm now invincible for another two
yeah,
seconds.
yeah.
That's an option.
Yeah, that was
There's
one of
all
the
kinds of
options,
different
and
ways you could go.
then to get max health is another one. Is if it manages to kill a unit, then it just gets max health.
Oh, okay.
At the moment, it's
So
getting a certain percentage of the max health, but there's
yeah,
thoughts of changing it to actually just boosting it to max on every
yeah.
kill.
It's just the problem with how it is currently is that it likes to zip into the big middle of an army to get that heaviest health pool,
Yep.
and but once it reveals itself, it's like, oh, hey, we're gonna kill you now, and poof, it's gone. So it's got some need of need of attention,
Yep.
to say
Need
the
some
least. But
TLC.
I love the concept. They're just something needs to be tweaked in order for it to function better. Okay, here we got a wrecking ball build, spirit shield generator, and look at that fire dragon, just melting everything. So we didn't get the spirit shield generator though because the fire dragon was shooting at the bottom of the army instead of the top, but we were still able to get it with the phoenix and the draining spirits with bleed. And bleed stacks win the day.
Yeah. Well, we have about 10 minutes left of the stream. We can have a look at what the
Yeah,
quiz has been doing.
yeah. I guess
Where's the
we
quiz?
can
There it
reveal
is.
the super secret sauce and
Well, I'll just read off some
see if we can.
suggestion or some guesses folks have had.
Yeah.
What do we have here? So, what is the most powerful tool you have in your arsenal to reach the top? Brain, strategy, American Express. Oh dear.
That's good.
Arcane Blade with
you,
Chaos
you
Power
should
Stone.
you should award extra gems to whoever said American Express. That was funny. I got a good
Yeah.
laugh.
Oh dear. Let's see. T5 Spear. Friendly fights. Titan and MC builds. Patience. That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah. And money seems to be quite a few guesses as
Oh
well.
well, yeah. Okay. There is some validity to the money thing that can uh, improve your resources significantly to the point where you have less difficulty. Strategy was another excellent suggestion, but I don't think anybody's gotten it so far.
Yeah, there possibly
Uh,
might have been one. I skipped over it.
oh, okay. You think you know what it is then?
Let's see. There was what ones did I not do? Oh, there's one asking Matt for a boost to number one.
Ask for a boost, like a raid boost.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because we do raid boosts. That's for newer players. If you're looking to expedite your progress, joining just a random clan is one thing. Yeah, you'll be able to fight a boss at a certain difficulty level and get things that way. Many of the top end clans will often have openings. It's better for them to have all of those openings filled with one exception, like get 19 out of 20 members of your clan. So if they have 2 or 3 spots open, you can usually slip in with making them aware that you're not a tier SR15 player. So you can't handle a raid difficulty of 15, but you can still slip in because they would love to have your donations. They would love to be able to donate to you, and you can attempt a raid. You do not have to succeed at the raid. You have to tag yourself to the raid, and you will get a sea chest from the SR15 level. That will give you mythic artifacts, rare artifacts, and a bunch of artifact fragments to upgrade them. So rather than joining SR4 difficulty clan, which is totally fine doing, if you want to build up from the top and grind your way out, you can do that by all means. But if you want to expedite your progress, hop into a top end clan, making them aware, hey, I'd like a raid boost. And as long as you attempt that boss and you get that raid chest, otherwise it's just going to waste. Those are empty spots. That's loot that's just going to waste that nobody's getting,
Yep.
that you could be getting. So don't waste it. Take advantage of it. That's the way the system functions. Might as well just um, take the opportunity, get some artifacts. That'll boost you up higher, and you'll be fighting SR9 bosses before long. If you can take down an SR9 boss and get an S plus chest, that's better than the C chest at SR15.
Yep.
So um, ride the raid boost for as long as you possibly can, then pop out, try an SR9 boss. If you can take down SR9 bosses on a consistent basis, your raid boost time should be over because you'll get better rewards for succeeding at SR9 and above than failing at SR15. But until then, fail at SR15 and take the free mythics.
Yeah. And then we have at least one guessing what I would have also suggested to be the answer, and that is
Yeah, I hope
I
I don't
get
get in trouble for
yeah,
revealing this.
yeah, I guess it's using your clanmates to forfeit against you.
That is correct. We have a winner. Ding, ding, ding. So um, this is not a secret. It's just not widely known. So hopefully I don't ruffle any feathers by sharing this. But if your clan, and very few clans can actually do this, just because you very rarely have so many of your clan members close together. When you get to the top and 7 or 12 of the top 20 are in your clan, then you find each other all the time. So if somebody if somebody runs into you and you're trying to get a higher rating to achieve an objective, like maybe a league reward, like a warlord's chest or something, if they see you, they surrender to you, and you get credit for a win because they lost. So you can take, 19 people, you can even go beyond your clan. If you can generate relationships with people and build a community with others, I actually dropped down uh, six, six of my profiles, and I took the Ben guy that I mentioned earlier. He just joined our clan recently. I was boosting my own alts, but every time I saw him, I white flagged him, and I boosted him. I think like 300 trophy rating, and I think he got the 250 gems, or maybe he just got close to it and didn't quite get it. But uh, if you have the relationships, if you build the community and work with each other, you can use the mechanics that exist in the game. I don't think it's cheating. At least I don't know. Maybe somebody will disagree with me. But if you want to boost yourself to a higher trophy rating and you've got the friendships to do it, then the world's your oyster. You can do basically whatever you want to do.
Yeah, no,
I
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
I don't think it's cheating per se. It's using clanmates. It's using the social side of the game to your benefit. We saw it
Yeah,
like I don't know when did I see it for the first time. This was being done. I think it was probably by Sin, clan called Sin, ages ago, years ago, and they started doing it at one point, and it was something we found interesting to say the least.
yeah, yeah. And this is one of the two what would you call it, thorns in the side of many players in the community, is that they feel it's an exploit. Um, the way that I look at it is you fight on the battlefield that exists before you. The battlefield is not does not merely comprise of what you see on your screen. The battlefield extends into Discord. The battlefield extends into even your real life friends. If they're playing the game too, you can have them help you. Um, Use every tool at your disposal to win. I mean, Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Like you don't pass up on an opportunity to win. Like you take the advantages that are before you. I don't know if that's exactly what he said. I'm sure that's a paraphrase, but if that's something you can do and it's not considered an illegitimate exploit, then why not utilize it and get some extra rewards?
Yeah,
I took, like I was mentioning earlier, when I was boosting Ben, I wasn't there to boost Ben, but since I saw him, I boosted him along with my alts. So I got six profiles, six to Warlord title last season because I was able to take my top three profiles, go down to where my other three profiles were at, and I spammed battles all day long. It took me 12 hours at least, but my son was sick, so I was just sitting there doing nothing anyway. He's better now, so don't worry, he's doing fine.
excellent.
But I was just sitting there. I had nothing to do. He was just sitting there watching Paw Patrol. So what am I going to do? So I just dropped down my top three profiles and I just spammed battles over and over and over again until I saw myself, and I just kept white flagging those three profiles all the way up till they got Warlord. So I think it should be changed somehow. I don't think that's how you should be able to advance in Battle Legion. But if that's the battlefield we have, that's the battlefield I'm going to win on.
Yeah,
And that's the same deal. That's the same deal that people have problems with for the clan fight. The clan fight, there's huge Discord, not the app, but Discord as far as uh, discontent with how that battle is fought. If there's no means of regulating how members exist in a clan, then you're going to be able to just plug in whoever has the highest trophy rating, and boom, you win. You're going to be able to do white flags to boost people, and you're going to win. There was, yeah, so there's been many times where right at the very end of the season, it gets down to that last clutch moment, and there's 200 or 300 points difference. Who are your friends?
Yeah. Well, anyway, there has been thought of how that would be tackled, how it would be changed, possibly change if you forfeit a battle. Would that forfeit
yeah,
then completely everything? So it would be null void. It wouldn't affect rating in any way. That's
but
one
that would
one.
be exploited as well.
Oh, that would be exploited. That would bring its own can of worms as well. But
Yeah, because
I
then
don't
you
know.
would never lose.
Yeah. So basically, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tricky one to
Yeah.
tackle, but
So I guess the best way to put it is that the way the system exists is the worst way you could possibly do it, except for every other way that you can think of.
yeah,
It's just what is the better way?
yeah, yeah.
You know, it's I don't know what it is.
Anyway,
I've made plenty of suggestions.
yeah. Anyway,
But
it's
anyway,
it's pretty much
yep.
the end of the stream.
Yeah.
Didn't have time to do any fight nights, so as we're not doing any fight nights, and when you had one quiz, I'm going to double the gems that folks get for taking part in the quiz. So you'll be expecting some extra gems from that tomorrow. Won't have time to do those today. And
Yeah.
yeah, extra big thanks to Mathermar for being here. It's some very
Yeah. You're welcome.
astounding
It was
insights into the game.
my
Mind
pleasure.
boggling.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excellent. And shout out to everybody in the stream who's been active. And yeah, excellent. I mean, this has been really
Yeah.
fun, and we need to do this again with Mattermar,
Yeah.
with other
Let's.
folks from the community. Anybody who wants to be in the stream, then we can try to do something. Definitely.
Yeah. Let's do a normal fight night maybe between now and then because I need the gems on all my alts. So.
Yeah, yeah. We'll take a break from this for a while. Do some
Yeah.
normal fight nights. Possibly try to start a bigger event at some point as well. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I'd love to maybe next time, if there is a next time, we could kind of discuss the maybe the future of the game or something, and what we'd like to see as a community, where we'd like to head, and that
oh
kind of
yeah,
stuff. I think that would be fun.
that would be really good stuff. That.
Yeah.
So anyway, without further ado, we're going to end the stream here. Thanks everybody for being here, and we'll catch you later.
Bye for now.